Well, hello everybody. It's nice to have you on our live stream tonight, and we've got two guests. One who's going to tell us about her story and the things that she has gone through, and somebody who's going to help us to be able to learn from the videos that we've just watched. And now in the post that we put up, we talked about the cat, we talked about the spider, and we talked about the penguin. And then I put ... question mark. Well, what is the question mark and what are the dots? Well, let's find out. Hello.
Hi.
How are you this evening, Stella?
I'm doing great.
That is excellent. Well, Stella's going to be helping us tonight. A little bit about her story, and I don't need to tell you. She's going to tell us some of the things that she had happen and some of the things that she did to protect herself. Now, tonight we're looking at, as you can see, we've got what can we protect ourselves. If I just take away our pictures, you'll see going to be all about. We're going to see what it is we can learn to protect ourselves and be able to help others that are in similar positions to be able to protect themselves and not have the hassle of what that caveman did. Or it can be in reverse, where some women are a little bit predatory. And unfortunately, even in the XJW community, while it is only a very minor amount of people, few in number, it still happens. In our group, it doesn't really happen. But I know many of the group are in other groups and we see obnoxious behaviour. Now, what I'm saying is it's not all men and not all women that are doing this. It's only a very small amount of people that cause a large amount of grief for a number, mainly women, but also men. And tonight, that's why we've got Stella on, because when she came into the XJW community, she was visited by some very interesting subjects, you could say, which we'll find out a little bit later. And the same with women doing it to men. Men have just listened, and before they know it, they've ended up with a totally nude woman in front of them. No asking, no nothing, and it's just turned up in their inbox. We've got to find ways to stop that, and that's why we're going to hear from Stella and what she went through. And then after Stella's told us our story, we're going to bring on one of our life coaches, Astarte, to help us understand what it is that we can do to protect ourselves, to protect others, so that we can get our critical thinking, which Watchtower didn't want us doing. We've got to restart that on all sorts of aspects in our life. So let's make a start. Okay, Stella, how long have you been in the XJW community? Can we ask you that?
Exactly 2 years.
Exactly 2 years.
Yeah, I have my anniversary last November 20. So this is my second year into the XJW community.
Right. So I know you've been busy. You not only do the XJW Philippines group, both the public and private, you've also got your YouTube channel. So your face is out there, you're known.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you first came into the community, though, nobody knew you. Would you like to share us some of the things that you did when you came into the community,
Mm-hmm.
when you had got used to the community, and where you are now? What sort of things happened to you over that time?
When I entered the XJW community back in December 2018, I was not mentally prepared. Um, I had so many issues about myself. Um, I was having very low self-esteem. I was so lonely and hurting from the shunning, and I was so angry and full of resentment. And I felt I had the need to fill the gap that the GDAs have left. And the first thing I did was fill it with the XGDAB. And I had no screening. I did not screen any one of them. I just accept them. And I searched for groups, and I shared my first post about myself. And I think I shared a lot of information. I made myself vulnerable, and I portrayed myself as a victim. So even though I got lots of support and lots of comments, I think I further dig a hole for myself. I let out so much more information, and but then even though I joined the group and I asked them to add me, I don't get as much friend requests, and people don't accept my friend request because I did not put my face out there. So I thought if I put my picture, I will be accepted in the community. So I changed my profile pic and I put my face up, and then there it goes. I was flooded with friend requests and flooded with messages, and yeah, I did not filter the friend requests, and also I started getting a lot of messages from different people, and I thought that they wanted to support me or comfort me, and I was sharing my story, and I love to hear other people's story also. So I think ignorantly I put myself in danger out there. I didn't know I was making these mistakes, and also after that, I keep posting pictures of myself in Facebook all by myself, portraying myself as a single lonely woman. So it made me look like a vulnerable target for people out there. So I was not expecting that there is harm for me out there because I completely trust the XGW community. And also I was blinded by anger and resentment. So I did not see those risks. So I was just longing for acceptance and community. And that's it.
So you've been quite busy in those 2 years doing all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what sort of picture did you have up before you put your face up?
Because I used my Facebook account before for gaming, for online games. So I put up a picture of cat or cat lady, something like that, interchanging, but not usually my face.
Okay, so
So
you put your face up. What was the difference when you put your face up versus the cat or the cat lady or whatever you had as your profile picture?
yeah, those were the time that I kept receiving friend requests, and from
From,
300 friends,
yep,
it jumped into over 1,000 in
okay.
a very quick time.
It is a big jump, 300 to
uh,
over 1,000. So were
uh,
they mostly women, men, or a mix?
Mixed,
A
but mostly
mix,
men. But
mostly.
women will accept my friend request or will send me requests. But
Mhm.
it was men who sent me message.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
all right. So what happened when you got all those messages? Did you just say hi and leave it at that? Did they just
Yeah,
say hi and leave it at that? Or were
yeah,
there other
because
things going on?
I didn't know the danger. So and I thought they were just comforting or supporting me or telling me their story. And also I was hungering to hear their stories,
Hmm.
like exchanging of stories, like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
And and then sometimes they would get too friendly, you
When you
know.
say too friendly, what do you mean?
Um it's that normal friend making me feel uncomfortable and creepy. So
Creepy.
yeah, it's
Creepy.
like they're testing how far they can go. Um,
What do you mean how far they could go?
uh, Over friendly.
Over friendly.
Uh,
Okay.
Sending confusing messages, like double meaning messages. Uh-huh. And I don't know how to deal with them before because
Okay.
I don't want to be rude. As much as possible, I want to be nice, friendly,
Yep.
polite.
Yep.
I just want to be accepted. So those are my fault. I
Okay.
didn't see the danger.
You didn't see it. Okay, fine.
Uh-huh.
So do I take it then you've got a different perspective now when you say you felt it was your fault, you felt you wanted to be nice and friendly.
Mm-hmm.
What what would you do now?
Uh, I learned to be straightforward,
Hmm.
and whenever I will get such messages, like over friendly messages, um, I will be direct and blunt. So I learned to do that.
Okay.
I think um, when they are trying to be over friendly,
Mm.
like for example, there's this guy who posted something um, because he was mourning the loss of. Wait, I'm just taking this. It's bouncing in my ears. Uh, so he posted something about mourning the death of his mom,
Right.
and at previous time he messaged me, and so I sent him a message, sending my condolences. And then all of a sudden, he sent me a dick pic. And so,
Dick pic.
yeah.
Did you
So
ask for
that
that?
no, I was
Okay.
consoling him for the loss of his mom. So I was really shocked, and I
I
told his
can understand.
yeah. Imagine the so I at that moment I said maybe he didn't really lost his mom. It's just trying to get sympathy from other people. So I said, okay, sir, you're gonna be blocked.
Did
So
you? So you blocked him.
yeah, I blocked him, but I took a
Well,
screenshot of that
yeah.
because I
Well
want to
done for
remember
doing that.
that name.
Yeah. Good on you. How did you feel
He-
when you did that?
I feel violated.
Mm.
Uh-huh. Because that was so unexpected. Imagine that you're consoling somebody and they
Mm.
took advantage of the situation,
Okay.
and they have other motives. So I got scared of that.
Yeah.
So
So
and
that would have been the only picture you ever had?
no.
What do you mean, no, 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 no?
Yeah, like I told you, there were messages I got from these people. Some I did not open because at first I can feel that there's danger in there. But most of them I opened and replied. But if they are short, like, hey, beautiful, you look pretty, you look
Yep.
hot. So I don't reply to these people. But at first, they will be like friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and then they will progress, and then they will say um, repeat things.
Yeah.
So that will make you feel uncomfortable. So when that happens, I will tell them directly that I'm here to be a friend, to support, but other than that, I cannot offer anything else.
All right.
So
So you started setting some boundaries.
yeah, at that time, I think it took me almost a year until I found the courage to do that, because I don't know how to say no. I don't know how to express myself, and I
Yeah.
don't want to upset other people, and I don't want to read mixed signals. What if I was wrong? And I tell them this, and then they will tell me off. So I don't want to put myself in a situation that they will accuse me of misunderstanding what they really mean. But in reality, they were trying or testing the waters if I will take the bite. So I know where it will lead on. So that's when I learned how to speak up, how to find the courage to say no and say what I feel. So
Okay.
and
So,
also,
Karen.
mhm, there were times that like this ex-elder who reached out to me from YouTube, and he was quite nice at first, messaging me, telling me his experience, and it's a nice conversation. And then the next day, he messaged me, and then he asked me if I missed him. So I said, "What do you mean?" So I asked him directly, "What do you mean by that? If you're up to something, I cannot help you with that." So I mean, as quick as that, I said what I really feel, and that's setting my own boundary. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I don't wanna have a situation where I could be accused of leading somebody on. I had the same experience also, um, and it's quite hurtful
Yeah.
to be accused of that. uh And also, there's this one guy who approached me. He sounded very nice and very friendly, and I was chatting with him for some time, and then he started ringing me in the middle of the night,
That's very nice.
and and he got upset because I was not answering his calls in the middle of
Mm.
the night. I was
Mm.
sleeping. So those were instances when I know I have to get out of that situation
Yeah.
because it's not healthy, and it's like controlling me, and I'm not even in a relationship with him. So and then um, he started adding my friends on Facebook, especially the Filipino ones,
Mm.
and started messaging them. And I got a complaint from my niece, and she said, "This guy is creepy." and also from my
Yeah.
cousin. So then
Oh,
I asked, yeah, and then I asked the members of the group, the Philippines group, if anybody of them is being contacted by this guy.
yeah.
Uh-huh. And so one of them came forward and said that she's been exchanging stocks with him. And so I told her that um, he's been doing that with other people also. So be careful. So yeah, that's another danger. If I did not allow them inside my life, then they could go to my friends. That's another danger with these
Yeah.
people. If they will not succeed with you, they will try with your friends.
Yeah.
One thing I learned.
I've got a bit of a message for you, Stella. Susan said to you, I'm so glad you found your voice.
Thank
Now,
you so much.
to use that wording there, you found your voice. It took you a year, maybe a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to give some practical suggestions to ones that are in our group or ones that we know who are in this group and go to other groups,
Mm-hmm.
what practical suggestion would you give that you found helpful from your perspective?
Um, One thing is we have to take time for healing for ourselves, um, better ourselves. Because if
When
you're
you
not,
just go back to that one before, you've got to find time to get healing. What do you actually mean?
uh, because like what I said at the beginning, I have so many issues with myself
Yeah,
when
okay.
I enter the XJW community, and I haven't worked on myself before. I didn't
Mm,
know that I was having those issues with myself. So,
okay.
uh-huh. I was so vulnerable at the time. So
Yeah.
one thing I learned is you have to be mentally prepared um, to deal with the
Hmm.
XGW community.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And um, in that way, you will know how to deal with people
Okay.
because we're not prepared for that. When we were inside the Jehovah's Witness, we were told to be present ourselves um, as ambassadors of goodwill to other people, so
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
will be attracted to the religion. So, but when you go out to the XAW community, you are yourself on your own, and you have to be you have to learn to protect yourself um, because you're on your own. The
Mm, mm.
organization is not with you anymore. You're not relying on their um, teachings and doctrines. So you have to um, do this walk on your own.
Okay.
So one thing I learned is you have to better yourself first. Um, Also, uh, you have to screen the friend request.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And don't share too much information out there because it will put you in danger without you knowing it. The, the predators, they are looking for signs, especially for the new ones. Because I have this message one time when this guy said, "You look new here. How long have you been out?" So he's asking questions and keep asking questions, and then at the end, bomb. He's laying a trap. So
Yeah.
one question will lead to another question. So I learned um, to screen these messages and to trust your feeling, trust my gut feeling. If I feel something is wrong, because there is something is wrong.
Yeah.
So I learned to do that. When I feel I'm not comfortable with the line of conversation, I don't want to go it through. I don't want to let it to continue. Um, so yeah, that's one thing. And also, um, even though I will tell them that I'm not interested, they will still pursue. So one thing you can do is just cut the conversation totally, or unfriend or block these people,
Yep.
because they will not stop.
Right.
So that's one thing. And
Okay.
I
So you
put
mentioned, I'll just go back to something you mentioned before. You said that you noticed many have been putting out a lot of information about themselves.
mhm.
What do you mean? What sort, can you give us an example of what you're talking about?
uh like what I did. I said, I just got out of the J-Dub. I have no friends. I'm hurting. I'm in so much pain. I'm lonely.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put up pictures of me out there, all by myself. Like I'm a lonely girl out there.
Mm.
So and then when I give comments, I share my stories on other people. It's like I tell them everything,
Yeah.
um, because I want to be accepted. So I did not filter the information that I give out. So yeah. So it portrayed me as a victim, um,
Okay.
open for everyone, for attack, something like that.
So what do
Hmm.
you have as a profile picture now?
uh, it's from Star Wars.
Good choice. Great choice.
Yeah. And I think I put up that picture 7 months from now.
7 months ago.
And
Okay. Yep.
yeah, and ever since that time, I really got friend requests, unlike before when
Yep.
my face is out there. So, and I don't get creepy messages anymore. Even
Great.
if I do, I will not go into it. I'll just ignore them. If the
Okay.
messages are not related to XG dubs, like
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to me, because
Yep.
I will get messages from other people, like who wanted to reach out because they saw me in YouTube and they wanted to connect and they wanted to share their story. I'll be open to that. But with regards to messages that are hi, hello, beautiful, I will not respond to
So that's on
that
your YouTube
automatically.
channel.
Yeah.
And you get messages like that.
Yes, a lot.
Okay.
And it discouraged me for a while.
Yeah.
Um, I questioned myself if I was being too, if I was being flirty while I was doing my video. So yeah, I question myself because
Mhm.
I'm not inviting those comments or those guys. I was sharing my story in honest, in honest way, and then all of a sudden, I will get these creepy comments also in YouTube. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I don't reply to them.
Well, you've done amazingly well to work out
Mhm,
the things that caused it, the things that you could do in a practical sense, in a
mhm.
practical way, I should say, and then put them into place. Well done. Do you think many XJ-dub women that are coming into the community would be really, well, the need to learn these sorts of things?
Yeah, absolutely. They
Right.
need to
Yeah.
learn, not to be too trusting. Um, like what I said, we're on our own here now.
Yeah.
So there's no elders to come to and ask for advice.
Yep.
Um, We have to deal everything on our own. And if we are, if we have Jada family, they will not support us. So all the decisions and how we handle our lives right now are in our hands. Nobody will do that for us except
Okay.
us.
Cool. So along the way, have you been able to find support to help you come to the things and the decisions you've made with regards to protecting yourself?
I found good friends.
Yeah.
That
And they've helped you protect yourself?
again.
And they've helped you so that you can protect yourself?
Yeah, I get good advice
Okay, good.
from some of them,
Yeah.
support. And once I establish that good communication with good friends, I don't
Right.
have the need like I had before
Yeah.
that I needed to fill in because I already found good friends within the community. Like unlike when I was new to the
Mm.
XGW, I was longing for all sorts of support and acceptance. But
Yeah.
right now, I got rid of that need. And also, I have worked out on myself, and it helped me a lot. Um, Getting connected with the other XG I mean, the good XG because we
Yeah.
have to remember, not all XG are good. There are people out there who are, predatory, narcissistic, um, full of anger, and
Mm.
trying to pull you down to their circle. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
too healthy for us. I learned how to stay away from such people and stick with the good ones that I know I could better myself, like
Mm-hmm.
this group.
Oh, you like this group?
I love this group.
Good. Well, we want to say thank you for telling us your story,
My
telling us the
pleasure.
things that you've been through, the steps you've taken, the courageous steps, putting boundaries in there. Because when in the J Dubs, like in a lot of areas of our lives, whether it's the J Dubs or others, we don't set boundaries. I never knew what a boundary was until certain things happened, and I'm going, why are these things happening? And we're going to talk to a lady very shortly who helped me understand it so much better, because to be honest, I didn't understand it. I have to be honest on that.
A
I
lot of us
understand it
don't.
so much better. Yeah, it's part of the growth. So thank you once again. Let's bring on Astarte. And you can say
Thank you.
hello to Astarte, because you know Astarte.
Hi, both of you. It's good to see you.
Anyone who's on the live stream, if you have any questions, I should have said this. We'll keep Stella on the line for a little bit. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Stella as to what she did, what she would do different, any sorts of questions, please put them in the comment area, and we'll be able to get her to answer them, and possibly Astarte. When Astarte starts talking, she puts it very simply. It's got to be simple, because I understood it when she told me. So that's a good start. So, so like I say, if you have any questions, put them in the question box, and we'll get them, and we'll be able to ask the two ladies who are on screen with us. So how's your weekend been, Astarte?
Let's put it this way. I've come down to the South Island for a few days. There's a little bit of a retreat with some friends, and then it was my intention to go and see my brand new twin grandsons over in Christchurch.
Congratulations.
And guess what? I ended up getting a cold, and there's just no way that Air New Zealand would let me fly home. There's no way my son would let me go and see the boys with this cold. So here I am sitting on a lifestyle block on the west coast of New Zealand, we've had just such a beautiful day. So my weekend has been very chilled, very relaxed, and I'm ready to talk to you guys.
Great. Well, hopefully your voice won't conk out. That's okay.
You sound
Have
great.
got water?
I don't know. I'm good now.
That's good. That's good. Will you get to see your grandchildren before you come back?
That depends on whether my son thinks I'm recovered enough. I can
Oh.
probably cope with getting on the plane because I won't sneeze anymore. And as long as I don't talk, they'll be they'll accept me.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I've postponed my trip. I'll probably come home on Thursday, so I should be fine by then.
Oh, that's good. Well, we had rain here this morning in Palmerston North, but
So
it
I
did
heard.
fine up in the afternoon a bit. Okay, so you've heard Stella talking about the things that she went through. I have one question, and I'll get you to enlarge on it in whatever way you feel practical, because we want this to be as practical as possible. The question I have is, why? Why do these males think they can do whatever they want, and the females who they buddy up to and butter up to put on a good image, why do they take the hook, line and sinker from that particular male?
All right, now you're addressing this in terms of Jehovah's Witnesses, or former Jehovah's Witnesses in particular. The first thing I'd like to say, you ain't got the exclusive on this. It is a worldwide problem.
We're not special.
Both men and women can be predators, and both men and women can be victims.
Mm-hmm.
However, people who are not in a cult, sect, particularly tight religion or whatever, tend to have a much more broad perspective on that during their upbringing, and are less likely to succumb to predatory behavior. So they're less likely to be victims. Mm-hmm. There does definitely seem to be a larger proportion of people coming out of the J-dubs who are incredibly vulnerable, and that's males and females. Right. And Shane's given a little bit of an idea of his level of vulnerability, which I've helped him with. And something I'd like to make really clear is that there's only one way to protect yourself, and that is to follow a message that I've used in my own life since I was 39 years old, which is nearly 30 years ago. And that is, if it is to be, it is up to me. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to be a victim, that's up to me. If I'm going to be a strong, resilient woman, then that's also up to me. Right. So that fits for everybody on the planet. If it is to be, it really is up to me or you or whoever. So bearing that in mind, the first person that you need to get to know is yourself. Mm-hmm. Sadly, the J-dubs do not encourage this behavior because their entire, from what I can see, because I'm not a J-dub, I've never been a J-dub. In all honesty, and I have to say this with a little bit of a giggle, a guilty giggle, I've often invited J-dubs into my house and pulled them to pieces. So I'm a bit cruel and predatory myself, if you like, when it comes to being worked on by people, because quite frankly, that's what the J-dubs used to do. They used to work on people, working to get you to see their way of being. And I had no time for that. So I used to pull them to pieces because that was my defense, if you like, in my innocent days. I don't anymore. I don't need to. I'll just say, thank you, but no, I don't want a copy of the Watchtower. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. So I've made changes in my behavior. My goal is to be kind rather than aggressive. So to that end, I've worked on myself, and I encourage everybody to work on themselves. Now, what does that mean? The first thing is to know yourself. So you've got to know your own values. If you don't know your own core values, and there can be, say, 6 to 8 of those, which are your main ones, then that's the very, very first thing you need to be looking at. Mm-hmm. There are books available to find your values. There's online tutorials. There's YouTube has got heaps on finding your values. So I strongly recommend you go and do that. Or a quicker way is to find a life coach who can work you through that. You can get it done in an hour or so to find your values if you wanted to do it with a life coach. But then that may well cost you if you don't know where to look for a life coach. So online is another very good way. So get your values, first of all. So then you know what your boundaries are going to be based around.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, say, 6 values, and somebody speaks with you and they align with your 6 values, then they're probably worth having another conversation with. If they break one of your values, you can then think, how important is this? Do I want to carry on associating with them or not? And the mature thing to do is, if you think they're worth carrying on with, is address the issue. Say, okay, so I have this value of honesty, and I felt in our last interaction there was some dishonesty. So I really want to question you on that. And that means that you can then have an open and honest conversation. And their response to you will give you an idea of whether you want to continue being with them.
Yep.
So that would be number one. Also, things in your life generally, if you know what your values are, when it comes to making a decision, if, say, 5 out of 6 or 7 out of 8 values align with you, then it's probably worth pursuing. If you've only got 3 or 4 values that align, maybe that's not enough to make it worthwhile. So that's where values are very useful. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you two found your values yet? I'm
Yep.
asking Stella and Shane, have you got your values sorted yet?
Maybe.
Now, are you intending to set a really good example for your fellow XJ ducks? If yes,
Maybe.
then my excuse me, my challenge to you both is, by the end of the next 7 days, the next week, by Sunday next week, that you have posted your values on this page. Do I have a deal?
Maybe. I will attempt to do that. You don't look too far. Mind you, you're down in South Island at the moment, so I'm safe for 3 days.
You're safe for 7 days, darling. And
We'll have to see what happens.
here's the thing. I recommend that to everyone else on the page.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't everybody work out what their 5 to 7 or 8 values are that they want to live by, what your chief ones are, and post them up so you can all share your values? How's that? Making it a group exercise.
Mm-hmm. A challenge.
Now, I bet you anything that this will increase your ability to make boundaries. When you know your values, then you can set boundaries, and you can build your self-esteem in knowing that you set those boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've got 3 things sorted. Values, increase your ability to set boundaries, and increase your personal self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that sound like a good start?
Yep.
It is.
Then I urge everybody to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Next is learning to love yourself.
Learn to love myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Shane,
Yes.
do you think you love yourself?
I love Star Wars. Does that count?
Are you Star Wars?
Star Wars is not you. It's not you.
Okay. So we'll take that as not being very sure about it. And part of that could be because you haven't got your values sorted yet. It will come. What about you, Stella? Do you have
Yes, Stella. Yeah.
Do you love yourself?
I'm learning.
Good. Okay. I know you are. I know you are.
This is
Okay,
favourite.
so the first thing you can do to start loving yourself is watch yourself talk. See what's going on in that little voice inside your head. Does it say things like, "Oh, for goodness sake, you should know better than that"? Does it say things like, You're hopeless at that. Does it say things like, really, really, you said that? For goodness sake, have you got no self-control? See, that's low self-esteem talk.
I
You
used to
don't
do
want
that.
that. You really don't want that.
Mhm.
What you want is, okay, so I may have made a bit of a mess of this particular thing, but I'm going to give it another go and I'm going to get it right this time. Okay, so that's a much better way to talk to yourself. Or, yeah, I only got 7 out of 10 and I knew I should be able to do better than that. So I'm going to go away and learn it again. Pat myself on the back. I'm doing something positive. Do you see the difference? When you're
Progress.
telling yourself, okay, I may not have won this one, but I'm going to give it another go and I'm going to do some more practice. Then at least you're up and you're trying again and you're boosting yourself because you know you can do better. And if you've done something well, what are you going to say to yourself?
Well, it won't
Give
be
me an
negative.
idea. Sorry, Shane?
It won't be negative because those comments you're talking about are negative.
Tell me what you would say if you've done something well.
Good
Well
job.
done.
Would you say that to yourself?
Who are you talking to?
You.
Oh, yes.
Good.
I do say that to myself sometimes.
What would you
Not all
say
the
to
time.
yourself? Stella, what would you say if you did something good?
It's like self-congratulatory.
Say again?
Self-congratulatory.
Good. So what would you say to yourself?
I give myself a treat for doing a good job. Yeah.
Pat on the back.
Yeah. Aside from telling myself I did a good job,
That's
I
what
will
you got
give
to
myself a treat.
Okay. And will it
A
be
reward.
a treat or a good treat? A healthy treat or a piece of sugar?
Mm-hmm.
That's ice cream.
It's about treating yourself the best way you can.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can improve your self-talk, you're going to make a difference to your self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what your personal needs are and you fulfill your personal needs, which is all associated with your values as well, then that's going to give you a higher self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can love yourself and look yourself in the eye through the mirror and say, Astarte, I love you. Or watch yourself in the screen, right where you are now, and say, Shane, I love you. Stella, I love you. If you can say that to yourself, then and look yourself in the eye doing that, that is going to be a huge boost to your personal self-esteem, loving yourself. Yeah.
Confident.
Now, something that I've noticed about people who come out of the J-dubs is that they tend to be desperate. Yeah. I saw your eye roll there, Ella, which means that, yeah, I own that. And I think Shane is hiding his response to that.
He's
My eyes
cheating.
won't move now. Can't see anything.
So, if you're desperate, then you're going to behave in a desperate manner. And if somebody comes along and takes advantage of you, you're going to feel crap.
Yep.
All right? Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing to do is to be really, really sure that you're getting to know yourself first. If you realize you're desperate, and your behavior will tell you that, I think Stella's given us a really good idea of what desperate behavior is.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect Shane may possibly in the past have indulged in desperate behavior. And here, I'm going to be honest here. I have also indulged in desperate behavior during my late teens, I will say, and early 20s. I behaved in a desperate way because if I didn't have a boyfriend, I could have the right thing happening in my life. Yeah. Okay. So I was desperate to get a boyfriend. And if you're desperate, boyfriends don't want to know you. Instead, you get predators. Somebody will take advantage of you in a moment of your weakness, and then you feel even worse about yourself. So it really is not worth being desperate, because when you're desperate, you make mistakes. So build your personal value first, build your personal esteem, then you're not desperate. Then you can form friendships which are of value. Now, I regard Stella as a good friend. I regard Shane as a good friend, because neither of them has dissed me anyway. Both of them have uplifted me in some way or other. And I feel that we give to each other in a way that's very uplifting, I think is the best word for it. And there's nothing wrong. Yep, it's all our group power. So that's the best move forward, is to form good, solid friendships, which are not based on anything but mutual interest. Now, if that happens to be sex, then great. If you can find a good friend who has a mutual interest in sex with you, have yourself a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It doesn't matter. But make sure you stay safe. Always looking after your own well-being, values, self-esteem, positive self-talk, etc. Right. Another thing to do is find a spiritual path that is true for you. If there are 7.5 billion people on the planet, there are 7.5 billion different spiritualities. Because none of us have exactly the same ideas about spirituality. A group of people may talk about God, but do they know who God is? Do they just have a picture that somebody else has built for them? And is that relevant? I did a lot of research in my teens and early 20s around spirituality as well. And I've formed my own version of spirituality, which serves me. I don't need to go to any church for it. Sometimes I share communion of sort, spiritual communion. I'm not talking about breaking bread or anything like that. I'm talking about chatting with people who have similar spiritual views to myself. And we can build our spiritual understanding through such groups. So having a group of like-minded spiritual people that you can have fellowship with is a really good idea. Or if you're an atheist, have a great atheist group and you can talk about being skeptics and things like that. Whatever it is, whatever you've got in common with a group of people, find it. Look for it. Get your spirituality sorted before you start having sex with someone. I think that's a really wise plan. Create your own community, whether it be a spiritual community, a hobby community, a work community, an exercise community, a dietary discussion community, a public speaking community. There's Toastmasters. They're an excellent group of public speaking people, for instance. Great way to make friends. Then, of course, there's the XJ Duck community. You've got great people in there. Sorry. You've got good people, and then you've got predators. I'll come right in a minute. And choose only people who uplift you to be in your community.
Yeah.
Be selective.
Now, question. Dick pics. Can they hurt you?
I've had one. I've been left out, but I don't want them.
You sound jealous.
No.
Dick pics cannot hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Pics are a message. Delete. Block.
Block.
Eliminate. Report.
Mm-hmm.
That's
what I forgot.
Report to Shane here. Because Shane will eliminate them from the group.
Exterminate.
That's the one. Anybody who sends rude pictures of any sort should not be part of the community, because they're going to predate on somebody else if it's not you. But remember, dick pics cannot hurt you. They are merely a message.
Mm-hmm.
Suggestive words. Hey, beautiful. How would you like to have a conversation this evening?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who addresses you as hey, beautiful. If you know them, fantastic. If you don't know them, block, delete, report.
Mm-hmm.
So get smart with your behavior online. Get smart with your interactions in person. Work with your own personal values, because when you've got those, keep them as a list in your pocket, so you've always got a ready reference to your values.
Yep.
And then if you need to, get your list out of the pocket, check them out. This. Oh, that one's violated. Do I want to carry on with this? No, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Check your values. Your values will tell you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to yourself with care and love. When you have that, you will be a complete human being. I'm still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Questions?
How long is it going to take?
Questions. Ask me questions.
How long would that take to, you talked about finding out our values, 5 to 7, self-talking.
That could take you a week, say. What else? When you have your values, what did I say next? Let me check my notes.
No, I didn't take notes. I'll have to look back on the recording.
Thank you.
Stella might have listened. Or somebody on the live stream might have told us.
Boundaries. Boundaries is next.
Boundaries.
From your values, work out your boundaries.
Okay, while we're talking about boundaries, I had an experience. This is when I asked you a few months ago, and you said, well, what are your boundaries? And I'm going, fence line, door. Anyway, if an extra somebody from our Life After group or any of the other numerous amounts of groups that are out there, if they take the opportunity to just listen and somebody thinks you're their boyfriend, how can you work out the boundaries so that that won't happen?
Well, you can't be responsible for someone until they start communicating. You can't be responsible for your own actions if they've mistaken what you say.
Okay.
What you can be responsible for is how it moves forward after that. So can we role play, Shane?
Okay.
So let's say we've had a conversation for a while. Now,
yep.
What might somebody say? Let's say it's from you right now, but what might somebody say that would trigger you? Because I want to be able to respond to it.
Trigger me.
Should we meet? Okay. Well, first question from my perspective is, and what would that give us? What do you hope to have from a meeting?
Yeah. Okay. I should write these down, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Well, you've got it all. You've got this on record, so you can do your notes later.
All right.
So, Stella, what might be one of the unwelcome approaches that you've had? Give me an idea. Other than the dick pic, in which case you just delete them. You don't even tell them. You just delete them.
Some of these guys, I think they know the words that women wanted to hear, so they're giving this generously.
So can you give me the words?
I want to do stops with you like this.
Say it again.
I want to do stops like this with you. Stops things like walking in the salsa with you, something like that. Romantic words. So that was being over too friendly, crossing the friend boundaries. I got that.
So you'd say something like, no, I think I want to keep this relationship online only. Thank you.
What I said was, I'm gonna be your friend always, but aside from that, I cannot give you or offer you anything else.
Well, that's fine. That actually gets it across. But careful what you're promising. Do you realize you promised to be a friend always?
I said that to a certain guy.
Yeah. So look, for now, I'm your friend, and that's where it stops. We're online friends. Full stop. Just
I have to remember that.
Really clear what your boundaries are. But don't make any promises.
Yeah.
I'm happy
Because
to be your friend right now, but online. Just be clear.
Yeah. Because when I said no to that guy, he asked me if I could still be friends with him, like begging me if we could still be friends. Even even if I said no, because I literally said no to him. And then he asked if I could still be his friend. So I gave him my word. I promised I will be his friend. So that was my bet. When I said I will be here as friend always.
It is a bit unfortunate, but how is the relationship now?
With this guy?
Yeah.
He came back as a friend.
So you got fantastic. So you set a boundary and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just about being careful when you set boundaries.
Yeah, but
you did great because it worked.
I feel a little safer because he jumped into another relationship. So I feel safer being his friend, allowing him back to my life.
That's
because
right. If you feel safe, that's great.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about. If you don't feel safe, either cut it or boundary. Yeah. And what would people do you think, if they didn't know where to learn these things? Where would they go for it? That's a good question, isn't it? Now, Shane, you've mentioned that you and I have worked together.
Yes.
Yeah. I know I've had conversations with Stella before. Where would you go to actually get some good, wise counsel?
I seem to have somebody's number on call here, and I can ring you.
That's right.
But I've trusted you for a long time, so I know I can call you.
15 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've put other people onto me as well. And we've had some very good conversations that way. So that's what the coaches that are associated with the XJW pages, this is what the coaches are for. It's for people to ask, to consult. I've got somebody who's somebody I spoke to before that I met through Shane, who's asked me again, would I have another conversation with him? So we're booking a conversation for later this week. So that's what people are able to do.
Yeah. That's what it's
I'm
all
grateful.
about. And while we're just talking on that, for those ones who don't know, because it's been nearly 2.5 months, I guess, I just want to play a bit of a video which will help us to outline a couple of things, and it has to do with Dare to Dream. Okay, so there is a group that works alongside our Life After Jehovah's Witnesses. Astarte is one of them, and there is a life coach. She's very good. We have a number of life coaches in that group. So if you were to do a search on Dare to Dream, and it has a picture, I'll see if I can change the background. I'll just take the pictures away from here. We're not going away. We'll just back up. This evening, she is able to help us to be able to dare to dream. We have some wonderful people.
Shane, I don't know sorry to interrupt. I don't know if anybody else lost your voice, but I lost your voice during that. So I don't know if,
Me too.
Okay. So
It's
you
all
made
black.
What did you hear?
Nothing. Blackout.
as soon as your picture went, your voice went as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Should be just a video, hopefully. Anyway, we'll start again. So that little video that we had with regards to daring to dream, we've got a group that's working alongside our Life After. The goal of that group, and it's not for everyone because we want people to work at reaching the goal that they have set for themselves. It's not about the life coaches. They're there to guide, possibly suggest, but they're definitely there to help. And so the life coaches and the therapists that we have in that group, because we have been a little bit busy of late, that is something that's going to be getting up and running shortly. And if you feel that you can do that, we'll put the link in the description or on a post in Life After to be able to let you know where it is. You can just click it. Have a look at the questions. Have a look at what's there, because we do want to help the XJW community dare to dream about a happy life. We don't have to, like Becky said the other week, look in our rear vision mirror at the past. We ain't going to get anywhere when we do that. Look at the windscreen in front of us in our lives. That's where the life coaches come in really handy to help us. And you've heard what Astarte is like. She might think differently, but she gets you to think. One person who I sent there sent me what they thought, and they go, Shane, it's weird. But guess what? She feels so much better now from what she did. Have you got something like that yourself? Would you like help to be able to do that, the members in our group? Well, that's what Dare to Dream can do to help us be happy, to help us to dare to dream, to move on to something better. Now, guys, ladies, I want to say thank you for being able to come here. And just to let you know what some of the things that are coming up in the coming weeks, I'm going to give you a bit of a clue as to what's going to come next week. We'll take the pictures down and we'll put a little bit of a video. Well, that might give you a clue. I'm not going to tell you, but it's one of our life coaches that is going to help us to have a look at that soccer player. He's going to help us to analyze that picture, you could say, and give us some practical suggestions that might just help us dare to dream. Is that what you want? Well, I hope tonight everybody who has been on the live stream has appreciated the efforts of Stella, who's had some interesting things and what she's done to be able to go through the whole procedure of being lonely to where she is now and what practical steps she has done. Likewise with Astarte, she's maybe put my glasses on. So you can see my eyes moving. But that's what a life coach should be able to do, to get us to think, to get our mindset from wherever it might be to here, so we can focus on a better life. We don't need to keep looking at the J-dub stuff. Hence why our group is called Life After Jehovah's Witnesses. That's where we really want to focus. We can't do it by ourselves. Like Watchtower wants us to do, go to the elders who've got maybe good business skills, running how to clean a window or carpet cleaner. Not many have life coach skill ability. But the ones in our group, the Dare to Dream group, they do. They're qualified. They've had experience. We've got some amazing people who are able to do that. And even in the community, XJW community, like Astarte said, there are some amazing people. Make good use of that abundance of knowledge, because they're here to help us. So thank you once again, ladies, for joining me this evening on our little chat. We certainly appreciated your time, and we look forward to seeing, well, at least we know that 2 people might put up the values. I better promise to do that by next Sunday, shouldn't I? Are you going to do that too?
Wait.
What do you mean?
Can you give me example of that? Sorry.
Oh, right. Okay, values, things like honesty, integrity, love, relationships, family, steadfastness, excitement, fun. Those are values.
Okay. Are you going to do that, Stella? You and me are going to hold each other accountable?
Hey, how about I post a list, a PDF of a list of values that people can
Good
choose
idea. Great.
from? Do that.
That'd be a good idea. Because sometimes we think we don't know.
Yeah, because I'm scrambling my brain.
I will find some and post them.
Right.
I'm so
And
grateful
for
for Star. Sorry.
Sometimes you have noticed a few notifications coming through with regards the Dare to Dream group. That's great that you've been able to do that. We look forward to seeing you in that group, to reaching the goals that you are going to set. Nobody else can set those goals, but we can support you. So thank you once again. Next week, we're going to be having that little boy kicking the soccer ball, and we'll look forward to that. Hope you can make it. And this will be in the Facebook group. So thank you for those who are able to join us on the live stream. If those ones come along to watch it later, if you need to ask questions, please ask them. Don't sit there thinking, I don't know what to do. The offer is there to have the help and support. So let's do that. Make use of a provision that we do have. So thank you once again, everybody, for coming along. And we look forward to catching up again soon in the meetings ahead. Thank you, and have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. Have a great day, and we'll catch you later. Bye.